Go. Oh, that's much better. Good morning. Don't rush. We'll get you set up. Traffic problems today. When you never know what's going to happen on the freeway. So welcome to our February lunch talks. We're happy to have all of you here today. And before we get into the subject of today, I want to again recognize the support we've gotten over the years from Friendship Village. They've been with us over 5 years, I believe, and they've been great. And how many are here from Friendship Village? All sitting together. How many have never heard of Friendship Village? Really? Never heard of Friendship Village? All right, we are going to show you a little bit about Friendship Village. If you watch Channel 8, you'll recognize this. Roll it.
Welcome to Friendship Village. Let me show you around. Wow. It's like a cruise ship on land. Do you like art? Music? Heated pool? Yoga? Pickleball? There are events and group outings for just about every interest.
The food!
There's so much to do here. Move it or lose it. Well, this is our stop.
Let's keep going! Yeah!
All right, now you've heard of Friendship Village. That's terrific. That spot has really gotten a lot of attention, and I'm not sure if Friendship Village has done anything like that before, but it's getting a very positive reaction. So we're still running this. This is the month. 2 days from now is Valentine's Day, so we want to wish everyone happy Valentine's Day, and it's also Black History Month, and that is part of the reason that we are featuring our speaker today. We doing okay? Oh.
We're just fixing it on here.
Trying to get everything going. Today's speaker is Dallas Teat. And the subject matter, you may say, I don't know if that's really an interesting subject or not. It is the story of Arizona's African American barbers. And if you really think about it, barbers probably know more about what's going on in a community than anyone else, or the hairdresser, because while you're sitting in a chair, you're having conversations. So they're really up to the things that happen around them. So let me introduce you to Dallas. He has quite a bit of a history. He's a documentary filmmaker, an actor. Are you playing a Shakespeare part today, or?
Well, actually, I am pretending to be Idris Elba.
Pardon?
I'm pretending to be Idris Elba.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So for over 2 decades, he's researched, documented, and preserved portions of Arizona's rich African American history. In January, he was awarded a research and development grant in support of his work on a documentary about Arizona's black barbershops. And that was one of the occupations that African Americans could do basically on their own if they weren't doing labor out in the farm fields. So he says that it's the story of the barbers is really a complex spider web of interesting stories and facts having origins in Arizona's territorial days. Presently, some of the African American community fear the cultural influence and social atmosphere of the black barbershop has begun to fade. And so the documentary that he's working on, Arizona's African American Barbers, examines the intricate relationship between Barbers and the surrounding communities. And Dallas also asks if the customary social and cultural influence fostered by Arizona's African American barbers continue to thrive in the 21st century. So,
We're just finishing up, so is there anything you want to announce that you'd say later?
oh, yes.
Upcoming events and things?
Well, I could do that. What I do want to announce, because several people in the past have said sometimes it's difficult to hear the speakers, particularly if you have hearing issues. And now this room is set up that if you need assistance in hearing, we have a special device that you can pick up at the front desk for hearing. And then I just learned this morning that some brand new hearing aids have buttons that allow a direct connection to the speaker system. So, telecoil, is that what it's called? Okay. Have not heard of that. But either way, we've got hearing devices available at the front counter too. So, am I still going on with?
We're just making sure it's playing, so you're going to do.
Okay. For my first number, I would like to do a rendition that you might remember from way back in my very first movie. It came from outer space.
There you go. Well, all right.
So, are we all set?
We are set.
All right. And the reason for the delay, as I said, traffic issues on I-17.
Yes.
You never know what you're going to encounter when you go out on the road. So with that, please give a warm welcome to Dallas Teat.
Thank you, everybody. Oh, yes, I forgot. I have to turn this on. Thank you. I appreciate you all coming out today to see this. I had every intention of being here early. I actually came last week. I have witnesses. I came and checked out everything, and you know what happens, Murphy's Law. Anyway, what I'm going to be doing is gonna probably be a little different. I've been working on a documentary for, about 20 years. Just me for a while. I get a little help here and there, but because of the subject matter, it's more conducive for me to be able to run and gun and get into someone's place of business and be unobtrusive, not interfere. The best way at times to deal with a barber is while they're working. They work, so it's a lot more fun to get them talking while they're working. And so this project is going to be a little different how we approach it today. But let's get rocking and rolling here. Come along. Come on. Of course now. There we go. We hit the wrong slide, of course. All right, catch your breath, everybody. We'll be just fine. All right, there we go.
This program features segments from the documentary Cutting Through History, Arizona's Black American Barbers, which explores the cultural significance, social impact, and historical evolution of Arizona's Black American barbers. It is not intended to mimic, copy, or capitalize on the success of any recent motion picture, YouTube video, podcast, book, stage, or television show. Nor is it intended to make fun of, humiliate, defame, or otherwise portray in a negative manner any individual or institution appearing in or related to this project. We forego the characters, caricatures, and clowns.
The first thing I asked them do you want to become a barber, professional barber?
Can't say that I've been to too many black barbershops or barbershops in general, but I have seen barbershop.
Actually, we taught ourselves. We didn't, they didn't know anything about black hair.
And the only time I more or less got to cut a blackhead is when I drugged my two sons up there to cut their hair.
Well, in 1963, this was predominantly a black area. Mostly black people lived around the school next door, it was all black. Black people lived all around the community. In that period, this was like a neighborhood barbershop.
The black community was a small community. Even today, it's only about 4% of the population. And all of the blacks did know each other. This. Come in here and get your hair cut because just like I said, the streets stayed packed down here. The streets stayed packed.
Most of our black barbershops they're pretty cool to where it's supposed to be a sanctuary for all men.
First of all, you got to strike against you anyway. If you black, you got to strike against you anyway. So you got to be a little bit more friendly, especially me and this Flagstaff. I'm in Flagstaff. Ain't too many black people come to the door.
No one ever asked Walmart, can they get groceries before payday? Nobody's asked Foot Locker, can they get them drawers before payday? Always the barber.
I really don't barter. I'd probably just give him the haircut for free, keep his items, whatever he's selling, something like that.
Cash is almost obsolete. Plastic, Zelle, Apple Pay, you have to be able to take everything to be able to make a living in this business.
Where the community kind of went to socialize.
They don't call me Henry Weaver, they call me Dr. Weaver. Because I work for the Heart Association. I monitor blood pressure for the customer that comes in the barbershop.
Because there is so much mistrust in the healthcare system, oftentimes African American men and women fail to go to the physicians. It's not just their mistrust, but it's also a lack of access to care.
I see a lot more men brothers going to the doctor and taking care of their health more now than I did 5 years ago.
From day one, right? The barbershop has been the therapy of the community.
There's no one closer to you than your barber and your wife.
Just because a man has a pair of clippers in his hand does not mean that he knows how to cut hair, because it's a man. It doesn't work like that. A barber is a barber, and a good barber can be a male or a female.
They look forward to getting that attention from a female. That could make their week, their month. Oh, I'm going to go see her this week and let her, touch me up.
They cut you just as good as hair as us. You know what I mean? And I'll sit in one chair. I'd rather a lady touch my head.
I like the shops here because most of the styles, they have the edging and all that. Most of the other shops, they don't really want to edge and do all the edging on the faces. Then a lot of shops can do details and faces nowadays, or they can do a lot more than most people. They can put your names, all that stuff in your hair. A lot of the other shops are just learning all the stuff that the black barbershops are already doing.
And I just don't see how another culture can communicate information to you if they don't know the pressures and the issues that you have in the black community. I just don't believe that they're able to communicate those ideas to you effectively.
I have a hard time with, someone that doesn't look like me, has no ties to our community, but that they, I feel like, have preyed on our community.
Come in the door, I will cut you up.
Dave Chappelle, Steve Harvey, Martin Lawrence, and a cadre of others have all mined comedic gold from within the confines of the black barbershop. The movies, Coming to America, Undercover Brother, and the blockbuster franchise Barbershops 1, 2, and 3 have all paid homage to this institution. On stage, there's the play Barbershop Chronicles. There are books, magazines, newspaper articles, television shows, and numerous hysterical TV commercials. The black barbershop has been sort of a bully pulpit for professional athletes, politicians, and even one badass superhero has been known to frequent the barbershop. The movies, television shows, or various spin-offs and clones have all opened the doors to the black barbershop to a wide, diverse new audience. In casual conversations with my colleagues and acquaintances, regardless of ethnic origin, I was surprised they could only relate to the comedic images portrayed in the mainstream media.
Can't say that I've been to too many black barbershops or barbershops in general, but I have seen barbershop.
Most of our black barbershops are pretty cool to where it's supposed to be a sanctuary for all men. But as you go along through the city or whatever, I mean, you see a lot of people there of different origins at the barbershop. But mostly it's basically a sanctuary for all men.
Where the community kind of went to socialize too.
I like the shops here because most of the styles, they have the edging and all that. Most of the other shops, they don't really want to edge and do all the edging on the faces. Then a lot of shops can do details of faces nowadays, or they can do a lot more than most people. They can put your names, all that stuff in your hair. A lot of the other shops are just learning all the stuff that the black barbershops are already doing.
For decades, the African American black barbershop, pardon me for this, I speak loud sometimes, has been offering more than just grooming services. They're sanctuaries for culture, identity, community, and camaraderie. They're spaces where stories are shared, bonds are forged. I'm not a zonie. I was called one once in California. I'm from a small little segregated town on the eastern shore of Maryland called Pondtown. Growing up in Pondtown, my father and I got our hair cut either by Mr. Galen or Mr. Dan at their house by the kitchen table. Don't laugh, I was cute. My journey here to Phoenix came by way of Detroit, Michigan. And having neither family nor friends here, I was a little lost, both figuratively and literally. I found my introduction to Phoenix's African American community via Sublet's Barbershop. Mr. Robert Sublet was my first barber.
My name is Harold Sublet Sr. I'm here in the shop where my father built in 1948. My father got his discharge in 1943 from the Navy. The first barber shop he had was on the corner of 17th Street in Washington in 1947. He came down here and built this in 1948. I've been in the shop with him for say like about 30 years. My father is deceased now. My father died about 12 years ago. And I'm still keeping the legacy alive here in the business.
These barbers and their colleagues have been cutting hair and giving shaves for decades. Young boys, they once propped
My name is
into
Rudolph
booster
Bush.
seats. Thanks, Mr. Bush.
I'm 72 years old. Been here in Phoenix as an official resident since 1968. I got to Arizona by way of Luke Air Force Base in 1959. So I found the area to my liking and decided to settle and retire in this area.
Young boys they once propped into booster seats now come around to adulthood and bring their sons to the barbershop.
Well, first off, my name is Sam Davis. I've been in business since 1980.
Longtime customers with their hair trimmed, grayed by age, still show up regularly to catch up with acquaintances.
Louisiana, kind of got transport. Out here in Arizona in 1951, we came out just to spend the summer with my dad, and we've been here ever since. This is the year 2005, so we've been here approximately 50 years.
Mothers bring their young sons to the barbershop for the camaraderie and the culture. But sometimes I kind of think the young boys don't want to go to the same beauty shop that their mother goes to, so they want to come to the barbershop.
My name is George Greathouse, owner of Esquire Barbershop, Barber and Beauty Shop. I've been here since, same location since 1963, and enjoyed every minute.
Sometimes customers just show up to say hello. Each barbershop has its own truly unique atmosphere and style that's influenced by the clientele and the community and the owner.
We have a certain kind of atmosphere in here. I don't encourage cursing. I don't encourage smoking. I don't encourage men talking about women, especially the pimp and whore kind of conversation, and because of that, I've had over the years any number of mature or older people to tell me they like coming here because we respect people and it's just a good atmosphere, you know, and people talk intelligently, you know, and of course they get good service, so they like coming here for those reasons.
Social, I don't really think so. I think it's just as much social now as it was then. I think the barbershops, like my old shop where I used to have, you know, we used to close the door at 6 o'clock. We might stay there, you know, to 10, 11 o'clock playing dominoes or doing whatever, you know. And on Saturday night, guys want to come in, we get down and play poker and stuff like that, you know. Yeah, but we don't really do that too much no more, you know. When barbershop closes, you know, people usually go their own way, you know. But as far as socialize, just coming in just to sit around and talk, you know, we don't do too much of that. We get a few, you know, people come in, hey man, you know, I haven't seen you in a while, like that, but not just come in and play dominoes and that type of stuff. You know, it's more of a business thing now as opposed to what it used to be.
Well, actually, the reason I like opening up on Sundays because it's a different type of business on Sunday. It get a chance for me to be more sociable or more relaxed. You know what I'm saying? It give me a chance to do my paperwork. Give me a chance to just like I said, I get different national. I mean, you know, different clientele on Sunday.
I really, it's hard to say. I just tried my best to give good service, keep her clean and lively shop. You know, I kept magazines. Didn't allow a lot of loitering around, and kept everything. You know, I thought to the liking of the customers, and especially to me, because that's what I want. If I went to a barbershop, and I try to keep it the same way for others. So that was basically my I guess success, and just keep making everything comfortable for the customer when he came in.
The word barber originates from the Latin word barba, meaning beard, indicating that the term is directly associated with the shaving of the beard, which was a primary function of most barbers.
Hey, how you doing? I'm Will Smith. I've been a barber for 30 years, and I did not dye this beard. He dyed his own beard. Just want to let your camera know I didn't do this. This is not my work. I'm shaving around what he did. Okay, so I just thought I'd let you know. All right?
In modern times, the term barber is used for both a professional title and to refer to hairdressers who specialize in men's
My name is Evelyn Mitchell Fitzpatrick. I am one of 4 siblings. My father was Robert Mitchell Sr. He was the mastermind behind starting the beauty and barber supply business. He started from home, just selling it out of his station wagon for a while. And because there was no suppliers to go to the black beauty shops and barber shops, he started delivering to them out of the car, and eventually the demand got larger, and we got into the first building on Broadway and 16th Street about, I think it was about 1957.
My name is Florence Mitchell, and I'm a part of the Mitchell's Beauty Supply, which is a family-owned business. After my mother retired and my father passed away, then my sister and I have taken over the business, and it has been going ever since we took it over. My specialty is the beauty salons. It's very important to be committed to your stylist, especially, I feel, in the community. So beauty salons and barbershops, both I service weekly. I enjoy going into their individual businesses and working directly with them to meet the demands of their clients.
My name is Arthur Dean Knox, and I'm the owner of Universal Barber College along with my wife, Barbara, and I have a son that is also an instructor, and my daughter, Melissa. So this is like a ministry to me. And one of the things I've always tell students, the first thing I ask them, do you want to become a barber, a professional barber?
How you guys doing today? I'm Jabbar Nichols, Flagstaff, Arizona, and I'm here to get my license.
What kind of license?
That's a barber license. I'm going trying to go back to Flagstaff because there's no black barbers in Flagstaff, and I need to get back and take care of my people and everyone else that come in the barber shop.
Keep your eye on that young gentleman. In part 2, we'll see more of him. Over the past few years, many of the original barbers passed away, went out of business, closed shop. My interviews, my studies revealed a spider web of tales and facts, interconnected stories that reach back to Arizona's territorial days. Black Americans began settling in the West during the post-emancipation migration of the late 19th century. Most travelers continued on to California, but some settled in Arizona in search of opportunity, economic mobility, and in the hopes of escaping racial discrimination.
My name is Bernard Wilson, and I'm an independent researcher. I began my researching once I moved to Tucson. I was wondering, what did African Americans do out here? Where did they come from? Tucson's first generation of barbers came from Virginia, Texas, Louisiana, South Carolina, Tennessee, and as far north as Massachusetts. Many black barbers settled in Tucson after serving a tour of duty in the military while stationed in Arizona. And as soldiers, they did barber work in the military. A lot of black people didn't get their hair cut, okay, because their hair didn't always hang down, whereas white hair hung down, so they wanted it cut. So they wanted the best. They came out of the South. White people came out of the South. They were used to having black barbers cut their hair, their cousins' hair, their children's hair, and that was how they got their business. Some barbers that were business and more business-like, they even had signs up that said, no colored people allowed. So you'd have one or two barbers that didn't cut black hair. And you say, well, where did they get their hair cut from? It would be relatives in the house, in the home. They would tend to their own hair. Three well-respected men of the old Pueblo were Thomas Grant, Charles Woolgey, and Samuel Bostix. By 1870, Grant and Woolgey had accumulated a personal wealth of $250, a small fortune for black men during these eras.
Samuel Bostic ran for the mayor of Tucson as an independent candidate in 1874. Now, the January 10th, 1874 edition of the Arizona Citizen reported that Samuel Bostic received about 3 senseless votes. Nevertheless, Samuel Bostic was the first black American to run for public office in Arizona.
Another Tucson barber was George Bragg. George Bragg was a barber not to be messed with. George Bragg had been to Yuma prison twice, so going to prison meant nothing to him. George Bragg had 2 shops and then several others in Douglas, Pinell County, Phoenix. He was wealthy. He was one of the wealthier black businessmen and barbers of Tucson, but he was no one to be messed with. The newspaper has account of him getting into fights.
George Bragg was indicted by the Pima County Grand Jury in 1910 on the charge of placing dynamite at the residence of W.H. Whalen, superintendent of the Tucson district of the Southern Pacific Railroad, with the intent to commit murder. On June 18, 1909, now, Whalen and his family narrowly escaped death. Bragg was reportedly angry because Whalen had fired several men who were customers at Bragg's shop near the railway depot. Interesting enough, Mr. Whalen was also a customer of Mr. Bragg.
A no-nonsense person. These black barbers were also, former military men that had served in wars and combat. They had no problem in shooting at a person, just like the white people of Tucson during the 1870s, 1880s, walked around with guns and were threatening. But the black people that came out of the military were not threatened and did not fear being shot at, or they would shoot at you.
As the town of Flagstaff grew with the arrival of the railroad and the expansion of industries such as lumbering and ranching, black Americans settled in the area, contributing to the community's diversity.
I'm Homer Townsend. I live in Casa Grande, Arizona. And I'm here with a good friend, and we're going to talk barbershop, which I have thoroughly enjoyed during my lifetime. I'll go back to when I was a small child. My dad cut my hair, and if most of you ever had your father cut your hair, you know what I mean. It's like put a bowl on your head and go around it. But that got to be old, and I complained a lot. He would listen, but he didn't listen a lot. And as I grew older, I went to a regular barbershop. And the first real barbershop that I went to was in Tucson, Arizona. Once we moved to Tucson, Arizona, I went to a barbershop. It was called, all I can remember is JT. JT was a Hispanic older man. He was licensed, and he did a fantastic job because he had clientele of all the high school, elementary, college citizens would go to JT's, and that was down on Myers Street in Tucson. I don't even know if the barbershop is still there, but that's where I went. Well, went to JT all the way through high school. Then it was time to leave and go to college, and that's when I started having some fun. I went to Northern Arizona University. At that time, it was called ASC. I wanted to become a teacher, and so that's where I went. Arizona State College. And believe it or not, I was the largest freshman class that ever attended ASC, which changed, I think it was at the semester break. the name to NAU, Northern Arizona University. Being African American, the population wasn't very large, but we did have to have our haircut, need a haircut, because I didn't have a vehicle, so I couldn't go back to Tucson, I couldn't go to Phoenix. So I had to find this barber. His name was Barber Charlie. And if you ever could meet Barber Charlie, you would really enjoy him. He was funny, and he would tell you, I'm cutting your hair, and if I don't get it straight, don't worry about it. It'll grow back. Well, we worried about it a lot because most of the time, Barber Charlie, he wasn't even in his barber shop. He loved to be on the street, and he loved to go to the bar. Sometimes he would come to cut your hair. You did not want him to cut your hair that particular day. I said, Barber, I'll be back. He said, well, okay, well, we'll see you the next time. Well, next time might be 2 or 3 days, it might be a week. And there was one other gentleman that cut hair. His name was Sleepy Sam. Now, and the name fit his personality. Sleepy Sam, he might be cutting your hair and go to sleep. And he'd be standing there leaning on you and be sound asleep. And you say, Sam, oh, yeah, that's right. He'd wake up, straighten up, keep on cutting your hair. He did it at his home. His children at that time would be walking around looking at you and trying to figure out who's in the house. But that was okay with me. I had a job there in Flagstaff, and I still would go to Sleepy Sam. Now I was a teacher at the school where the children went. I had the greatest time as an educator because I knew the parents, and I could go to Sleepy Sam and get a haircut. His children would disappear because they didn't want the teacher talking to their parents.
While the precise names of the first Black American barbers in Flagstaff isn't readily available in historical records, their contributions to the Sound's social and cultural life is significant. They helped shape the fabric and essential services, and they fostered connections among residents from various backgrounds. I have quite a bit more information, and a sidebar, the entire documentary will end up being about 2 hours long. There's a wealth of knowledge and information floating around this state that's just very hard to pry from some people because most of the folks I needed to talk to have passed. And records are held within families, and families are very protective of their documents and their records. So most of what I was able to capture did come from oral histories.
My name is Alyssa Olivas. I am from Tucson, Arizona, and I've been a licensed barber for almost 2 years. I've been a licensed cosmetologist for 5 years now. So I grew up going to Al's barbershop because my dad and my brother would get cut by Tommy and Al. And I was a little girl that just sat there waiting for their dad and their brother. And I love the environment. I love that aftershave smell, that barbicide smell. I just loved seeing the little boys sweeping hair in the shop. And I also saw Lisi cut hair, and that's what kind of inspired me because she was the only woman in a male-dominated industry. Some first impressions I get are, kind of, does she know what she's doing? But I think once they kind of see what I can do, they get a little more comfortable for me to cut their hair.
The way I look at it is, as a barber, we're all barbers. Okay. If I put a blindfold on you and cut your hair and didn't talk to you, you wouldn't even know the difference when I took the blindfold off and you got a haircut.
Point well taken.
So just because a man has a pair of clippers in his hand does not mean that he knows how to cut hair because it's a man. It doesn't work like that. A barber is a barber, and a good barber can be a male or a female. A good barber can be a child or an adult.
Hey, I like that.
I think women are an integral part of society, and some customers actually prefer to have a woman barber cut their hair. I know some of the ladies that come in, a lot of ladies are into lower hairstyles now, and some of the ladies that come in, they actually feel more comfortable with the lady cutting their hair. So I think it's a very integral part of the barbershop is having lady barbers.
You starting to see an influx of females coming into the business because, I mean, of course, you get your older gentlemen, they like to have, that woman's touch, because we have gentlemen that come in, they have, they're widowed or they're at home, they're lonely, they're alone, so they look forward to coming in and have Jane touching them, giving them a haircut, trimming the ears, giving them a shave. A lot of times it says nothing like a woman's touch. So a lot of times a male would definitely prefer a female to actually service them, because like we said, it's nothing like a woman's touch.
There's a lot of female barbers. I think you just sort of gotta, I don't know if they got like a whole shop full of them, but there's normally 2 or 1 that's, in there. So I'm not gonna say there's not a lot of them, but they are, they cut just as good as hair as us. You know what I mean? And I mean, I'll sit in one chair. I'd rather a lady touch my head, than a man. That's my personal opinion.
I would say it's not like it used to be when I first started off. When I first started, of course, it was a male-dominated industry. So it was way more difficult back in the 80s. Now, not as much, because we have, women just being rock stars right now out here with the clippers, with the designs, with coloring. I mean, we have really overcome in this industry. So, it's a lot's changed now. Actually, men are more inclined to get in your chair being a woman now than back in the day getting in the chair for a man. So I think I got it pretty good right now.
For generations, black barbershops have been more than just places for fresh cuts and sharp shaves. They are cultural landmarks, safe spaces, and community hubs. But today, they've evolved into something even greater, a front line for health awareness and education.
Well, I'm Dr. Olga Idris Davis. I am the Associate Dean of Barrett, the Honors College, at the downtown Phoenix campus of Arizona State University. In about 2007 or 2008, I became part of a research center at Arizona State University. That research center was the Southwest Interdisciplinary Research Center. And the Southwest Interdisciplinary Research Center, under the direction of Dr. Flavio Marsiglia, was very instrumental in the development of a health literacy program and project that we were doing at the time to raise awareness about cardiovascular disease and cardiovascular health in the black barbershop. We wanted to not only raise awareness to the customers, but also raise awareness to barbers, so that barbers understood the impact that they have on their customers.
This haircut makes a person feel good about themselves, makes their day better. Shoot, you never know what a haircut would have stopped a person from doing one day. Might take his life, might take somebody else's life, might have committed a crime, anything. So we have more impact on what people give us credit for, hands down.
Men may feel more comfortable talking about health issues to their barber, who is often a trusted friend, than to a doctor they rarely see.
I found some validity in that also. I've had a lot of customers, especially my customers, there are a lot of them are middle-aged and older, and prostate cancer, lung cancer, things of this nature. And I'm sure that their discussion with me is more intimate in regards to their problems than it would be with their, say, probably even some of their spouses.
One specific program successfully aided black men in controlling our blood pressure, an issue that disproportionately affects us.
They don't call me Henry Weaver, they call me Dr. Weaver. Because I work for the Heart Association. I monitor blood pressure for the customer that comes in the barber shop. I did that since '07.
Most barbers are trained to recognize certain health conditions, and they can see the change in the hair as an indication of change in health or medical treatment.
A lot of times you can see just by how people's hair is and the older body odor on, you know, you can tell if a person's on drugs, you can tell if a person is going through chemo because you have your hair changes and your body chemistry smells and stuff like that. So, you know, one of the things we try to do when we see, I try to do when I see something like that is, you know, ask them how they're doing and have they gotten checked out.
Black men face disproportionately high rates of preventable diseases, hypertension, diabetes, and even prostate cancer. This disparity is influenced by several factors, including black men's experiences with racism and discrimination, access to health insurance, mistrust for the healthcare system, and social support.
Because there is so much mistrust in the healthcare system, oftentimes African American men and women fail to go to the physicians. It's not just their mistrust, but it's also a lack of access to care. So the issue around health disparities is a very great one.
I see a lot more men brothers going to the doctor and, you know, taking care of their health now more now than I did 5 years ago.
Communities with limited healthcare access or a low health literacy find these services invaluable. In Tucson, the Pima County Health Department partnered with Tommy's Barber and Beauty for their second Vax and Fades event. Individuals could get their first COVID vaccine and receive a free haircut from Tommy Clardy.
Well, it was great to help my community out. We had a lot of people here getting shots. This neighborhood, a lot of people were in line to get shots, and it was a Saturday during a U of A football game, and I was surprised, you know, how many people were here. It was great. I mean,
Do you think the people were here for the shot or because the shot was given here?
the shot was given here, and then to try to stay healthy. It was both, you know. A lot of our customers are people we knew.
At the Invasion Center, operated by the city of Tempe, barbers and beauticians are trained in culturally sensitive and gender-relevant mental health preventions and interventions to address the overall mental health of the individual.
From day one, right? The barbershop has been the therapy of the community, right? You look at your barber, your stylist as a therapist. You come in, you tell them everything that's going on in your day, you know, your personal information, no matter what the topic is. It could be relationship, religion, sports, whatever. The barbershop has been the safe haven for people to come and just be themselves.
I'm Jordan Lewis. I'm the CEO of L&J Empowerment. We're the home of the Confess Project of America, and we facilitate the Beyond the Shop training, where we train service industry professionals, that is barbers, stylists, any grooming professionals, estheticians, frontline workers, teachers, coaches, corporate leaders about mental health advocacy. We utilize that course, which has been studied by Harvard University. It is published and evidence-based, to teach them how to start the conversation, to build rapport, and how to really do adequate check-ins on people. We give them vetted information, resources, and tools that they're able to use in the community with their families, with their friends, and others to really revolutionize and destigmatize the mental health epidemic that we're having right now. As we know, many people are struggling with mental health concerns, emotional unwellness, awareness. And it's really important that we start creating community and a village for people to really understand and know that we have their back and we have resources to get them to the proper level of wellness that they're desiring.
This project is supported in part by an award from the Arizona Commission on the Arts, an agency of the state of Arizona. Special thanks to Heritage Square Foundation for assisting with historical research. Special thanks to Tempe History Society and Tempe Public Library.
I'm calling it quits real quick. They've got so much more material, and I'm going to make you wait until the movie comes out. We're hoping that we should be able to hit it by Juneteenth. I'm in the process now of working with not just the ACA, but Heritage Square and Tempe History Society, it's spelled both ways on the website, and the city of Tempe now to do a massive fundraising campaign so that I can access the resources to do things I'm not very good at. I've run into barbershops for 20 years and gathered information and put it together. Now is the time to polish it. We have a slot open at the Phoenix Film Festival for next year waiting on us. And I'm going to be showing it in Tucson, in Tempe, in Yuma, and in Winslow. And believe it or not, there is a black barber in Winslow. Don't worry, we went there. We have covered the state from Sierra Vista through Tucson, Casa Grande, Eloy, Mesa, Tempe, on the west side out to Surprise, Buckeye. I've gone to Yuma and Sierra Vista and Flagstaff. And I pointed out a young gentleman that was a barber student that said he was going to be the first black barber in Flagstaff. Well, when you see the continuation, you'll see what became of him. Very proud of him. So if you have questions, please ask. I have some cards if you'd like them. And this is what I've been working on for the past 20 years. It's been funded by myself and my wife, other than the grant from the ACA, which took 3 years to get. It's been a passion project. So I thank you all for your time. I thank you for listening. And please, if you have questions, I'll be around. Come up and ask. Thank you very much.
Terrific presentation. There's so much more to barbering than I thought about. And I'm wondering if in training barbers, is there any education on listening? Because that is really as much of importance as cutting hair, developing that rapport. And, you know, the reference to therapist is really true. In the early years of barbering, barbers were doctors, the bloodletting.
Oh, we get into that too. And the fact that they're not allowed to do that anymore.
And leeches.
And leeches.
And the leeches are still used today.
But not at the barber college.
No, not at the barber shop. We've got to begin to separate things. Tempe had its own black barber. How many do we have, Jared? 1, 2?
There was one in 1906.
That would be Theodore Thomas. And last fall, we dedicated to Theodore Thomas a marker at Double Butte Cemetery because ever since he passed, there was no marker at his grave. So now we have a marker that commemorates his contribution to black barbering in Tempe. Wondering if we've got a couple of minutes, if anybody has any questions? Whoop. Theodore Thomas. Theodore Thomas.
As a matter of fact, outside in the exhibit If you go out and hang a right over against the wall is a small exhibit for Mr. Thomas with some of his barbering utensils and a plaque. He made it into the documentary. We just didn't have time to get everything for 20 years in this little bit of time we have today. So there's much, much more coming, much more.
I guess that might be a difficult question to ask. In the early years of the Arizona Territory, because to my knowledge, it would have been hard for blacks to find their own trades. So barbering was one of them,
yes.
And they could own their own shop. Any idea what percentage of black barbers there were in Arizona?
No, there's not very good documentation, and I can check with Mr. Wilson, who's been primarily my researcher for the southwest part of the state. The main thing that happened, many of the barbers not only were trained in the South, but were trained in the military. And they cut hair in the military. So when they came west and settled in Arizona, they usually ended up in places like Fort Whipple, up around Prescott, or down at Fort Huachuca, where the Buffalo Soldiers were. So they had clientele, but they were located at places where there was a lot of traffic.
So when they mustered out, then they might have continued the trade wherever they were. It's really a fascinating history because we think of barbers who go in and cut hair, and we don't ever, most of us, I don't think, make that association with conversation and therapy. Barbers are pretty smart people. They're better than bartenders because the more you drink, you may be confessing things you don't want to. Thank you very much. Let's give him another.
Thank you all for having me.
Let me, okay, we have usually a couple of things. One, a little thank you from the Tempe History Society.
Thank you so very much.
And we inherited Dick Nearing's pen and ink work when he passed away a few years ago. And I've learned over the years that he didn't quite cover all of the topics. I looked around for something that might have had a barber reference, but couldn't find it. So I thought maybe the early days. This is a limited edition print, 160 of 200, signed by Dick Nearing. But this kind of represents the old West and the spittoons that were not only in bars, but they certainly were in barber shops as well.
A scan of this will make the cut.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, very much. And no, honey, we're headed off to Michael's to get it framed right now. So.
Yeah, we don't have the resources to frame. But again, we want to thank you very much for your presentation today. I think
Thank you all again for having me. And I hope I get to see you soon. And around the middle of the year, we will be doing a screening in Tempe. The city of Tempe has offered up to support and provide a space. Mr. Tim Birch and his wife Tamara have been exceptional in not only supporting this, but dragging me around to other events where we've had a fun time. So there will be a free public screening in Tempe. And I would hope to see you there.
And maybe a nomination for an Academy Award, Golden Globes, who knows? That'll keep Arizona on the map. Just wanted to remind you of a couple of things. Periodically, about once a month, I believe, we have open houses on the properties that are under the aegis of Tempe's care. And the next one is February 15th. That's this Saturday at the Elias Rodriguez house from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And if you've never been there, it's a very interesting building, very, very small. And we sometimes forget in our expansive residences today how small a space that families could live in. And it's been restored. It's kind of off the beaten path on Old 8th Street, but it's one worth visiting, and that is free. February 26th, the AAAC, the Arizona African American Advisory Committee Book Club will meet here. No, they won't. It'll be just by a Zoom. Okay. Performances at the museum. The Psychedelephants play Hazel. Okay. 7 p.m. in the community room. I'm sure there's something behind that title, but I don't know what it is. March 1st, performances at the museum. Azure Family Concert with the Tetra String Quartet. They've been here a number of times, and a rather early one at 3 p.m. So that's pretty much what's happening. If you get a chance, this is a very fascinating exhibit that we were just informed of that today. This is artwork from a refugee that was at Guantanamo in the 1960s, and I really kind of blank on what that experience was, but that's the work of this individual's experiences at Guantanamo, and there's a panel that explains it. So 1 month from now, in March, on the 12th, Amy Douglas, who was the former manager of the museum for about 27 years, and is an archaeologist, will be talking about Tempe's images on stone, hieroglyphics, petroglyphs, I mean. And on Tempe Butte, there is something like 450, 500 of them. And we work very hard to try to protect them. It's hard to patrol that butte, and fortunately, not all of them are easy to spot, so they're still in pretty good condition. But the contribution that the cultures that were here are enormous, long before anybody Anglo came through this area. So that's March 12th. And Dallas will be here afterward if you have any personal questions that you want to ask of him. A remarkable individual who's had a great career doing many different things. So thanks again to Dallas. Thank you for coming out today. And we will see, happy Valentine's Day, and reflect a little bit on Black History Month. And we will see you 1 month from today. Thanks.